All right, this right here is a lift station for our West camp. I'm actually standing on top of the tank right now, or the pit. We have our disconnect off. Actually, that's a transfer switch is off. There's another video where we had to replace the inside of this, where they were running a fiber optic cable and snatched the line and pulled it out. It was a big mess. But what we've got right now is we had this pump here failed. Our utilities guy came down here, and anyway, I came down with him, opened up the little terminal cover here, and we had mice get in here and chew the insulation off of all these wires, these conductors. The mice are getting in these little weep holes right here. I'm guessing that's where the mice are getting in from. But they've turned this into like a little hotel. Probably very comfortable here over the winter. So I'm in the process right now of stripping these wires back, try to save this motor. Otherwise we've got to send it in and have it rewound. That would be not cheap. So we're cutting all these out, and I'm about to pull new conductors up into the control panel. This one over here, they chewed on it too, but it's not as bad. I think I can repair that one without replacing the feeders. Right here, this wire here, it chewed but didn't quite get down to the actual copper. So what I do is I'll put a shrink tube on it, and then I'll put a second shrink tube. The damage was right in here, so I typically I'll do two of them, especially on something like this where, you know, we've already had a problem. But anyway, so we're gonna keep going with this little repair. All right, so now I've got all these repaired and pulled up out of the way. Now we're gonna start on these guys here. You can see there used to be some labels. So this is going to be the rotation of this pump. I don't want to change the rotation, so I want to make sure that all of these wires here, these feeders, go straight back to the contactor in that control panel, exactly like they currently are. So I'm just going to use my voltmeter, and I'm going to check for resistance between here and the contactor, and then I will label them 1, 2, 3, and then pull them all back in and make sure that I connect them back to this point here. So, all right, I've got all these labeled. Actually, I lost my Sharpie, so I just use colored tape, which is fine. Blue, yellow, red, and I've got the little contactor in there labeled as well. I pulled 2 of the conductors out, leaving 1 stripped back. And what I'm gonna do is I'll wrap this around, but I want to show you this. So I peeled this one, peeled the insulation off that one, took a screwdriver, poked a little hole, and then took these other 2 conductors and just kind of threaded those through there and bent them over. I'll put a little bit of tape right there to kind of hold this in place, and then make my connection there and pull it right through. Really, really easy. You could almost push these through by hand probably, but you know, takes an extra 2 minutes. All right, so we'll get these wires pulled real quick. Okay, we've got these all made back up. This one here is pretty short, but it's a good connection. It's not too tight. We still got it's a little loose, so we're good. Everything's made back up. Over here on our control panel, we are good here. This is to give you an idea of what this thing looks like in here. These are not necessarily simple systems. There is a bunch of mouse droppings in the bottom of this cabinet. Really need to get the mice out of these units, because they will chew up all this little wiring in here, man. They can just make a mess of this. You know, it's obviously major money to get in here and fix stuff. So anyway, but that's it. So we're gonna go ahead and button this guy back up, and then I'm gonna open up a little compartment here. There were some wires in here that need to be replaced, but I don't think I had to re-pull the feeds. It was not chewed up as bad in there. Maybe just some shrink tubing or something would be sufficient. All right, so we are finished up. The wiring in there been repaired. It was not bad at all. Only one of them had to be cut back. All this is clean. I'm sorry. All the wiring has been replaced and repaired. My recommendation would be to have somebody come out here at least once a month minimum, and come in with a vacuum, or like a battery, a DeWalt 18-volt shop vac, suck out the bottom of these enclosure, clean it up, Get some stainless steel screen or something to put over these little weep holes. Do a visual inspection on those, make sure they're clean, because you don't want water to, you don't want to leak in here and this thing fill up with water either. So, but visually inspect those once a month. Clean out these enclosures once a month. Open this guy up, make sure you don't see stuff like this right here. And then I would continue to keep out bar bait. Just keep a monthly log or an inspection on these, because goodness, these are not cheap systems to maintain. So, all right, that's it. You actually have just notice that you've got a place right there to plug a shop vac in. So you don't even have to use a battery operated one.